Good morning, ma'am. I am Mayank, and today I am going to deliver a presentation on the movie The Shining with my friend Sharon.
The Shining is a 1980 psychological horror movie produced and directed by Stanley Kubrick, starring Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Danny Lloyd, and Scatman Crothers. It is based on Stephen King's novel by the same name.
Talking about the reception and impact of the movie, we can say that initially it had a mixed response on the box office, but later it gained momentum. Some of the initial reviews by the New York Times, Variety, and Chicago Tribune stated that the movie lacked rhythm and thrill. But by 1987, The Shining was re-evaluated and gained appraisal as Total Film labeled it the fifth greatest horror movie, and Bravo TV named one of the film's scenes sixth on their list of the 100 scariest movie moments. Also, film critics like Kim Newman and Jonathan Romney placed it in their top 10 list for the year 2002. While analyzing the change in perception about the movie, it is critical to note that in 1999, the renowned film critic Jonathan Romney dispelled initial arguments that the film lacked complexity and praised Kubrick for his perfection. Romney explained that the final scene alone demonstrates what a rich source of perplexity The Shining offers. Look beyond the simplicity, and the Overlook reveals itself as a place of paradox.
Stanley Kubrick, the director of The Shining, was an American film director, screenwriter, and producer. He is also known for his expertise in unique cinematography, extensive set designs, and evocative use of music. His films are mostly adaptations of novels or short stories, cover a wide range of genre, and are noted for their realism and dark humor. Kubrick is also viewed as a perfectionist when it comes to movies.
Stephen King, the author of The Shining, is an American author of horror, supernatural fiction, suspense, science fiction, and fantasy. His books have sold more than 350 million copies, many of which have been adapted into feature films, miniseries, television series, and comic books. In 2015, King was awarded with the National Medal of Arts from the United States National Endowment for the Arts. He is also described as the King of Horror. Stephen King holds mixed feeling regarding Kubrick's version of The Shining.
Moving on to character analysis. No doubt it is the characters that play an important role in adding layers to the film, thereby making it complex and interesting. It won't be wrong to say that the characters of The Shining have done justice to put the theme of the film on big screen. We start our analysis with Jack Torrance, who plays a crucial role in the novel as well as the film. Jack is a writer who takes on the job as the caretaker of the Overlook Hotel. Jack begins the film as relatively sympathetic, intelligent, and ambitious character and might even be mistaken for its protagonist. As the film plays out, however, Jack takes on a role as the story's clear antagonist. The psychological impact of infamous Overlook Hotel and self-isolation intensifies his temper and alcoholism and turns him into full-blown antagonist of the film.
Moving on to the character of Jack's wife, Wendy Torrance. Wendy is the fragile, timid wife of Jack and mother to their son Danny. She is a compassionate and courageous mother who tries to save her son when her husband tries to hurt him. She is often abused by her husband, but when it comes to her son, Wendy portrays a brave and courageous mother who is willing to take all risks for her son.
Danny Torrance is the son of Jack and Wendy Torrance. He is gifted with powerful telepathic and psychic abilities that enable him to communicate with the evil spirits present in the Overlook Hotel and to see visions of the future before it happens. He is shy and secretive about his psychic abilities. Danny is a smart and brave boy who manages to survive when his father wanted to hurt him. Danny has an imaginary friend named Tony who often speaks through him.
Dick is the Overlook Hotel's head chef during the regular season. He shares the ability to shine, as he calls it, with Danny. and connects with him about their shared psychic abilities when Danny arrives at the hotel. Later, Dick is the one to receive worrisome visions about what's going on at the hotel, and he travels there despite the snowstorm to see if the Torrance family is in trouble, which shows that he is brave, helpful, and kind.
Tony was the imaginary friend of Danny Torrance. Tony is shown at first to Danny as an imaginary playmate, then a source of fear, and finally a source of strength. Dilbert Grady is a butler that Jack meets at a mysterious, perhaps imagined party being thrown in the hotel's gold room. Jack recognizes Grady's last name from Charles Grady, a former caretaker who went mad at the hotel in the winters and killed his family. The character is filmed in the movie to give it an additional layer of complexity. It also emphasizes the point that history repeats itself.
Moving on to the thematic interpretation of The Shining, the film has multiple themes such as isolation and loneliness, duality, detachment from reality, and clairvoyance. Isolation and loneliness and the impact it has on one's psyche are one of the major themes which this movie deals with. Jack starts to lose his sanity when he begins to isolate himself from everyone, including his family. He started getting detached from his day to day activities in the guise of focusing on his literary endeavors, and as a result becomes incredibly isolated from his surroundings. Duality plays another significant role in the construct of the set and the film. There are two mazes, two little girls, two Gradys, and even two Jacks. In Jack's case, what started as a mere irritation at his family's inability to understand his genius turned into downright aggression towards his family. The film is riddled with mirrors and shots being repeatedly framed in the same way. The entire plot of the movie itself is, in essence, a repeat of the Grady tragedy that occurred years prior to the events of the film, and the film is riddled with mirrors and shots being repeatedly framed in the same way.
Another theme is detachment from reality. Jack spends most of his time working alone or isolating himself from his wife and child. Jack was not in a clear state of mind from the way he talked and acted. It was clear he was slowly slipping into a world illustrated by him. The severity of his detachment is reflected in his writing, and the fevered scribbling of all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Clairvoyance is the overt theme which Kubrick plays with during the film. Danny is the primary factor of this theme. Seen through messages sent by Tony, Danny starts to pick up the broken pieces and tries to prevent what the future beholds. When talking about themes, it is important that we analyze the significance of the word red rum, which plays an important role in the movie. Red rum, it is a reflection of both the past and the future. The word has a significant connection to the hotel and history repeating itself, also representing the paranormal that pervades the hotel.
One of the theories that add horror to the Overlook Hotel and the film is the angle of Native American genocide. Kubrick has successfully depicted this aspect, which adds an additional layer of complexity to the film. The film's overt references to Native Americans and the fact that the Overlook Hotel is on a Native American burial ground, which was original additions by the film and was not present in the book. There is clear foreshadowing about what happens to the European settlers, mirrors what happens to the family, with the subliminal indication that there's a Native American curse or whatever. There are multiple scenes filmed with arrows and other mystical items placed on Jack's writing desk. The movie is filled with overt dialogue references to Native American designs and a direct implication that the ghosts of the hotel might be those of Native Americans, which are all missing from the novel. Jack and Grady's discomfort at the interference by an African American, complete with a racial epithet, through to Ullman's assertion that all the best people stay at the Overlook. It's clear to see why people associate this movie with the displacement of the Native Americans.
Since The Shining is an adaptation of Stephen King's novel by the same name, it is important that we discuss the adaptation. Adaptation requires certain part of the novel to be modified or omitted to keep the audience engaged throughout the movie and convey the emotions of the movie. Kubrick made a few additions to the script and that turned out really well. Many of the film's most iconic scenes and lines are not in the book, including the twins, the elevator filled with blood, and the endless pages of all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. However, Stephen King felt that Kubrick had twisted his story, ignoring the inherent evil of the hotel and generally messing around with the core point of the thriller. That overlook was itself the source of evil, not Jack Torrance.
Stephen makes the hotel creepy by writing about all the creaking and weird noises, but Kubrick decided silence was more sinister. The silence hence emphasizes isolation, which seems to be a more critical angle than the ghostliness of the hotel. When Jack Nicholson breaks through the bathroom door with an axe and says, "Here's Johnny," is an iconic moment in the film. It was an improvised line of Jack Nicholson's on set, so didn't appear in the book, but "Take Your Medicine" was the equivalent. Dick gets injured in Stephen's novel but ends up getting Wendy and Danny to safety. But he meets a bloody end when he encounters Jack's axe in the movie. Dick's murder by the Jack shows how far he has gone. At one point, John recovers his mind long enough to tell Danny to run away and that he loves him. But Jack definitely doesn't in the film. Indeed, because it would have broken the continuum of horror.
Danny escapes John in the book by sending him down the boiler, which is about to explode, but in the film, he leaves a false trail in the snow, causing Jack to freeze to death in the maze trying to find him. This act of Danny in the film shows his smartness. The defective boiler is a significant element of the novel's plot, entirely missing from the film version. In the book, Jack's descent into madness is slower, and it is clear that the hotel is what influencing him, not isolation. Whereas in the movie, Jack goes from sanity to insanity in a rather short period of time. The book ends in fire and the movie on ice, where Jack freezes to death. The iconic shot of a frozen Jack has been one of the most enduring images in cinema history. In the book, he is lured into the boiler room of the Overlook and blown up.
The minute details in the film are worth acknowledgement. The attention to performance and detail result in a film that is more uncanny the more you focus. For instance, there is the repetition of the number 42 on Danny's clothing on Jack's car. A film is shown called The Summer of 42. The digits of the dreaded room 237 multiplied make 42. The exemplary use of camera and hypnotic imagery, along with clear sounds and occasionally intense diegetic music, Kubrick creates a powerfully dramatic relationship structured to heighten the effect of the hotel's influence on the family.
Kubrick has made a genius use of lighting to convey emotions to the audience. The fact that in the film there are not a lot of shadows or dim lighting might seem counterintuitive, especially since it is a horror movie. On the other hand, the lighting in The Shining is clinical in the sense that it is sterile and impersonal. On the ceiling, we see lights that run in diagonals towards the far right corner of the room. The perspective of the shot seemingly leads us to an infinity of emptiness, a horrific horizon. In the gold lounge, the light accentuates the red color scheme. Many of the furnishings, some of the walls, Lloyd's jacket, Jack's jacket, and face are all red, meant to suggest associations of blood and murder or red rum.
No doubt, the soundtrack plays a crucial role in amplifying the genre of the film. There is something that is innately eerie and discomforting in the music of The Shining, often expressing solitude. From the very beginning of the opening credit, the eerie and the ominous medieval chant Dies Irae is heard boldly through an electronic keyboard. The dark notes played slowly in succession ensure that the audience knows that something is amiss from the start. The horns playing long notes in succession when we see Danny shine for the first time in the restroom are used later in the movie when Danny discovers that room 237 is open. A dream-like melody accompanies Jack at times when he appears to be losing his mind. It is heard when Jack is aggressively typing in the hotel lounge. What we later find out is the same repetitive statement over and over again.
Setting. The exterior of the Overlook Hotel is in Timberland Lodge situated in Mount Hood. Still, most of the interiors of the hotel and the maze shots were filmed in Elstree Studios in Hertfordshire, England. Kubrick chose to use deep colors and graciously lit the interiors of the hotel as opposed to the dark, drab environments of most haunted house pictures. There are intentional ambiguities in the spatial outlook of the hotel, including the fact that the ballroom would not fit inside the building. The scene was shot on set actually. Characters are frequently dwarfed by gigantic columns or huge windows. Even the carpets accentuate how small and vulnerable Danny and his mother are. One shot shows Danny playing on a carpet whose huge geometric patterns surround him like a cage.
From technical point of view, use of Steadicam produced some very refined shots in the film. The Shining was one of the first few movies to use Steadicam, a mount for the cinematographers that allowed capture of smooth moving shots over uneven surfaces. The inventor, Garrett Brown, was involved in the production of the film and Kubrick himself aided in modifying the device for particular shots. An iconic signature scene involving the camera following Danny's tricycle is an exceptional example of the shot. The maze, which serves as the climax to the film, is similarly depicted. It is precise because Danny navigates the hedges earlier in the movie as Jack is attempting to write his novel that he is able to survive this perilous encounter. The tall hedges of the maze, coupled with the level Steadicam, involves the viewer with blind turns and constant movement.
Last but not the least, we talk about the legacy of The Shining. A documentary called 237 was made about the making of the movie and the influence it had on future filmmakers. Initially, the film was not very well received, but there has been a recent resurgence in critical appreciation, whereas the author of the novel, Stephen King, continues to hold mixed feeling about the movie. The Shining is referenced in multiple other films and TV shows which pay a subtle tribute to its influence on the horror genre. Notable amongst them are Hostel, Ready Player One, and Breaking Bad.
Thank you, everyone.